Hi, this is Gene DiNapoli. Just want to let you know that your comments tonight might be shown on screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gene DiNapoli.
Hello, my friends out in social media land. It is so good to be back on this special show. It's been over a year since we've done this, and just like last time, my name is still Gene DiNapoli, and I hope everybody's doing great. Hope you all made it through the pandemic well. We're going to try to get some shows back in. You know, everybody was at home, so they were all ready to do shows. And then when things got back to normal, people getting to work, people doing shows. So it got a little hard to get guests. But tonight we have a very special guest. I want to thank my producer, Anthony Griffo, for coming out of retirement for me. This is going to be a real special show for a few reasons. Number one, we have something really great we want to talk about. But our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about the British invasion, you talk about the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Herman's Hermits, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Chad and Jeremy, Peter and Gordon. But this gentleman that we're going to bring on camera was not only the first one to do a British invasion song, he is the only solo performer of the early days. So, ladies and gentlemen, to give you a short synopsis of his life and career, which is chronicled in this fabulous book, Do You Want to Know a Secret?, which I read. It's a fascinating read. Ladies and gentlemen, will you bring in Anthony, the first man standing, the last man standing, the ambassador to the British invasion, our guest tonight, Mr. Billy J. Kramer. Come on in, Billy.
Hi, Gene. That was great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Billy, I got to tell you, right off the bat, this was such an easy read.
Thank you.
Really, was it equally as easy to tell your story?
Well, you know, it's funny because I mean, when I started it, you know, I didn't think it was going to be difficult, but you know, you have to do a lot of searching and digging deep into your past, but it's funny how things start to pop up that you've forgotten all about. You know, I was lying in bed one night and I just suddenly remembered, hey, you know, John Lennon was a big fan of Gene Vincent, and I had the pleasure of befriending Gene when I was in Hamburg, and I'd forgotten about it for years, you know. But the whole time I was in Hamburg, I was sharing a dressing room and going out every night after the show with Gene Vincent. I'd forgotten all about it, you know.
You know, being that you mentioned Gene, who's my namesake, Gene Vincent was cut down in his prime. Do you feel he would have been a bigger star had he lived along the ranks of Jackie Wilson and Bill Haley and Roy Orbison and people like that. You think Gene Vincent had that capability?
Yes, I really do, because there was something, there was something about Gene, with this mysterious, untouchable thing. You can never, people talk about star quality, but it's something that you can't really analyze. Some people just, it's a fascinating subject, really. I mean, it's like the Beatles. They were very charismatic, all of them individually.
Right.
And
You talk about the Beatles, probably the greatest songwriting duo of modern time. And they chose to give you songs instead of recording them themselves. So that meant they must have held you in such high regard and high esteem to give you your first major hit here in the United States.
Well, I mean, I think that's very nice. I mean, I never really asked them what they thought, but to me, it was an honor to do these songs. Right from the start. I mean, my first hit in the UK, it wasn't in the United States, was "Do You Want to Know a Secret?" Before they brought it out on their first album. It was an honor to record the song. I felt really privileged because I was a fan. I was a big fan of the Beatles. I still am.
Well, I think everybody that started off as a fan is still a fan. What we're going to do now is we're going to play a little clip of a song that was done in the early 60s. And this is synonymous with you. Anthony, video number 1, if you don't mind. Let's play.
You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the
Billy, I got to ask you a question. When the Beatles recorded that after you had a hit with it, did you ever in passing say to the guys, I think my version came out better?
At the time, I mean, I thought that would have been much if I made such a comment, but now it's history and it's a long time ago. But, there's a quality about both versions, but I do think that mine was put together very well, and I think it was a better version.
Yeah, I think so too. It's almost like a cha-cha beat, so people could dance a little easier to it.
Well, I think, mine was more up-tempo. I'll tell you the truth what I think. I think George's was a bit too slow. I think mine was a bit too fast. I think if I was to do it again, I'd slow it down a little.
Well, that's a good reason to re-record it in today's technology.
Yeah.
Billy, I'm an Italian guy from the Bronx, New York, and my father always said, when you see a good-looking girl, you're allowed to look, and you're securing your masculinity. If you see a good-looking guy, you're allowed to say it. You almost looked like, Anthony, put up the picture of him when he was in his early 20s. You almost look like a male model in this. Look at these teeth. Look at this. That is a Pepsodent Colgate smile, if I ever seen one.
Thank you.
Did you ever get approached to do any modeling or any?
Yeah. The only thing I ever did was, believe it or not, I did a commercial for a shirt company, and they just took a few pictures of me wearing a shirt, and funny enough, they saw me wearing another company's shirt on TV, and they dropped me. You know.
We have a friend of ours who wants to say hello, Bill Pascali. Remember Bill Pascali?
Oh, sure.
Bill's watching from Florida, and he says hello. Me and Bill used to be in the same band together years ago called the Ghost of Rock and Roll. And Bill is now resurrecting the band Steam.
Oh, that's cool. Cool.
Yeah, Bill is a chameleon. Bill is always working. We just spoke about this before we went live. The video we're going to show next of your first big hit here in the States was filmed in Florida. And I happened to be at this nightclub. This had to be 1985, maybe 86.
Yes.
It was, right? And ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see if there was ever a head of hair on an Englishman, this is it. Anthony, Bad to Me.
I'm so in love with you. The birds in the sky would be sad and lonely if they knew that I lost my one and only. They'd be sad if you're bad to me. The leaves and the trees would be softly sighing if they heard from the breeze that you left me crying. They'd be sad.
I'm sorry, Billy. That was the original version. I meant to send Anthony the one from the 80s. But everybody, go to YouTube, everybody. Put in Billy J. Kramer, Bad to Me, and watch him in 1985, 1986 on stage. My God, you had a head of hair like Elvis Presley.
Well, you know, unfortunately, I went to hairdressers a couple of weeks ago, and I went a bit crazy, cut it all off.
You know, everybody's commenting that they think you look better with the short hair.
Well, you know, I just fancied a change. You know, I just, you know, went in one day and said cut it off, and that was it. You know,
That's
not
great.
growing.
Look at this. Comments, handsome dude. Look at this. Wonderful. Thank you, Joanne. Billy, as you know, you have done many interviews over the past 3 weeks for me, because this Sunday in Long Island, New York, I have the pleasure and the privilege of presenting you in concert Sunday, May 7th. Anthony, put the flyer up, please, at the Landmark Theater on Main Street in Port Washington, New York, along with a group called the British Legends of Rock Show. It's a special 3 o'clock performance called the Secrets and Songs Show. Billy J is going to do songs, tell stories, talk about his autobiography, and it's going to be a great afternoon. We have a meet and greet as well for people. Billy, your last gig was when?
Pardon me?
Your last performance.
I did some performances with Joe and Terry Sylvester, and Joey Mullen from Badfinger. We've been.
When was that?
It's about a month ago. It was called Liverpool Lads. You know,
Yes.
where we talk about Liverpool and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which we are going to bring back to the East Coast as soon as we get done with this, maybe in the fall. Because you know what, Billy, I got to tell you something. We still have tickets available, but I have never gotten so many positive remarks about a show I produced, more so than the one we're getting with you. So you know what? Whatever happens Sunday, we're going to move forward, and we have the fall to look forward to. I think it's going to be a great show on Sunday. Are you going to take questions from the audience as well?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, I'll be honest with you. The way I look at it is, you know, I'm going to have a good time. That's what it's all about. And if people want to ask me questions, I'm going to answer them. You know, why not?
Great.
You know,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, in your book, you talk about being offered a Beatles song that you turned down.
Yes.
which we're not going to give that away. That's for Sunday.
Okay.
But name another song that was either penned by Lennon McCartney or done by the Beatles that you wish you had the opportunity to do, other than the song that you turned down.
Well, you know, Paul McCartney did play yesterday to me, and I said, no, it's a ballad, and I don't want a ballad, I want a rock and roll song. It would be nice. I mean, if I would have recorded that. I mean, the thing is with that song, about a month later, everybody on the planet recorded it and had hits with it. But, you know, I don't regret it, but it would have been nice. And quite frankly, I think I would have done a good job with it, you know.
But you know what, Billy? I don't know if you wouldn't have did a good job. You would have done a Billy J. Kramer job on it.
Well, that's nice of you to say, because, you know, I get asked a lot of questions about the demos. And the bottom line is I don't consider what I did to be cover versions. There were songs that were played to me, very, like when I did Do You Want to Know a Secret? It was just John on an acoustic guitar. That to me, he sat at the piano, played me the song, and we got down to it and arranged it and recorded it the way we wanted to. And, you know, I think, you know, there were no demos, and they were originally produced and recorded the way we wanted them to be.
Right. As I said at the top of the show, before they became the Beatles that the world knew, they took their hard work and gave it to you. They said, Billy J is going to do an interpretation that we don't think anybody else could do. That must have put you on cloud nine.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I always say in all of my shows, I will always feel indebted to John and Paul for the great start they gave me in show business. And that's, you know, that's a fact. It was an honor and a privilege to do them songs. And I tried to do them and interpret them in the best possible way I could. And to me, it's, you know, it's amazing. And I feel great that people still play these songs and still make nice comments about them after all this time, you know.
Well, success comes in many forms, Billy, as you know. Your fans are a success. This book is a success for two reasons, because you're so candid in your plight, which it seems that you had a couple of plights that you had to overcome in your life. You say in the book you were a chubby kid, you had no self-esteem, right? You said that.
I mean, I'm very fortunate that I reached a point in my life where, to me, it was like, what you see is what you get, and I'm just going to be honest and outspoken about the way I feel. You know, it's like, you know, I have this occasion which is not being publicized a great deal, but, you know, on the 19th of August, it's going to be my birthday. It's going to be the anniversary 60 years of Do You Want to Know a Secret? And I feel honored that I'm going to go to Abbey Road and I'm having a party for my 80th birthday.
80 years young. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give this gentleman a big round of applause.
And, you know, to me, that's a great honor, and I'm very excited about it, you know. To me, it's just have a good time with it, you know.
Absolutely. And we're excited that you're moving forward and you're not standing on your past accolade. You're moving forward, which is a great, great thing. Some people are asking about the show. You could go to BillyJKramermusic.com, click the flyer. That'll take you to the Eventbrite, and you could purchase whatever ticket seat you'd like. So the Beatles turn around and they give you Do You Want to Know a Secret? And then they record it. And then he did that with another song, which happens to be a favorite of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy J's version of I Call Your Name. What a great song.
It is a great song.
Great
In the United States, Little Children and Bad to Me were on the one record, but in England, Bad to Me and I Call Your Name, it was the B-side.
And that went certified gold in England, right?
Yes.
So how many gold records did you actually accumulate?
You know, I'm not really sure. I am not sure. You know, a lot of. I mean, it must have been 8 or 9.
That's great. That's great. Somebody just asked, did you ever play with the Beatles? They have to get the book to read, because some of the stories in this book, Janet, will blow your mind on the gigs that he did with the Beatles. And you know what is amazing, Billy, is that when you went out to clubs, you played clubs for weeks on end, the same place.
Right.
That would never happen today.
There was a period where, firstly, the first thing is, did I play with the Beatles? I played with the Beatles many times around Liverpool before they made records. Then when they were successful, I toured with the Beatles and we did weeks in every town all over the UK. In the UK, I used to do clubs. I'd do 7 days in a club. Well, 6 days, and I move on to the next one. That's the way it was. Yeah.
You started out as an engineer in a train company.
When you say a train company, it was British Rail.
British Rail.
Yes, I started as an engineer, a training engineer.
What was a more taxing job? Being an engineer for British Railways or working in a club 6 nights a week?
I tell you the truth, I think being in a club 6 nights a week, also, what I used to do when I did clubs, we'd be in one club for a week, but earlier in the evening, we'd do a one-night stand, maybe 100 miles away, earlier in the evening. We'd have a set of equipment set up during the day by the road crew. We'd do a show there. Then we'd go and we'd do a show at midnight at the nightclub. So that was 2 shows a night. That was we'd do 12 or 14 shows in a week.
I don't understand how your voice could have held out. I just don't get it.
Well, sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. You get there, no matter, if you determine, you get there somehow.
Let's show in America, Billy, especially Long Island, when somebody turns 21, they go to a bar and they drink, or their parents throw them a dinner with 5 people. Well, Anthony, put the picture up of Billy and what he did on his 21st birthday. Who was at your birthday party, Billy?
That was my 20th birthday party.
20th, you're right. Sorry.
That was my 20th birthday party with the Beatles in a place called Bournemouth. That was in the dressing room at the Gaumont Theatre. My 21st birthday, believe it or not, if you want me to talk about it.
Yes, please.
I'd watched the Hawaii 5-0 and things like that on TV, and I always thought, if I ever get the chance, I'm going to go to Hawaii. Well, I had a couple of hit records, and I had a tour of Australia. I made up my mind that I was going to stop off on the way to Australia in Hawaii, and that's where I spent my 21st birthday with 2 of the guys from the band, a great guitar player, wonderful guitar player called Mick Green, and the bass player, Robert MacDonald. And we celebrated my birthday in Hawaii.
Wow. Fabulous. Well, what a 20th birthday and a 21st birthday. Let's make mention, Billy, of the band The Dakotas. So the Dakotas were a separate entity. You were a separate entity, and they thought of putting you together to make a nice package. But it was never the Dakotas with Billy J. Kramer as the singer. It was Billy J. Kramer with the Dakotas.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happened is I had a band around Liverpool who didn't want to turn professional, and Brian Epstein, had used the Dakotas backing people when they came to the north of England from London, and he thought it was a good idea to put me with the Dakotas, and they were established in their own way, and they wanted a separate recording deal, and they wanted to be able to do things on their own. And I just said, fine, that's fine with me. And that was it,
Wow, you were real easygoing.
I was very easygoing to a fault, but that's the way it was. I was just interested in making records, doing shows, and making it easy for everybody. That's the way I am, even today.
Well, we're finding that out with all the help you've given this show so far. You're very easy to work with. It's a pleasure. And right now, you're keeping me satisfied. So let's play that great hit. I'll keep you satisfied, Anthony. Let's do it.
Billy J. Kramer with the Dakotas.
Give me love and remember what I told you. I'll keep you satisfied.
Great song. Great song.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a great song, and it was a big hit for me, fortunately, Funny enough, I can't read any of the comments because I had my eyes tested today and I can't read, unfortunately.
We're gonna print them out for you and send them to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Matter of fact, for everybody out there, Billy, since my last interview last Christmas, I got cataract surgery, so I don't wear glasses anymore.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm hoping I'm the same. That's great.
That's great. That's great. Billy, I just want to touch on this because it is an important part of your life. In the book, you do write very extensively about your addiction with alcohol. When we had Bobby Rydell on the show, Bobby insisted on talking about that and how he overcame it. And you also overcame it.
Right.
And your book, I believe, is an inspiration to people. And I'd like, with your permission, Billy, to buy 25 copies from you and distribute it to all the Alcoholics Anonymouses in the New York area on behalf of Billy J. Kramer.
That's a fantastic thing. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
I'll be honest with you. Getting sober totally changed my whole life. And I'll be celebrating 39 years next month on the June 28th. And, forget about all the hit records and the success. To me, getting sober and living a sober life, to me, was a bigger achievement than all of that. And quite frankly, means more to me than, to me, my life, I was successful and it was great and everything, but I really believe my life really came to fruition and got better when I got sober. Things got better. Things came into my life I never dreamed of. In fact, if I tell people some of the stories, they think I was crazy, but I'm not. But it had such a positive and amazing effect on my life. And
Of course.
to me, that's the most successful thing I've done.
Oh, of course. And to be honest, we're so happy that you did get sober, because you are now with a lovely young lady named Rose, who's Italian, and she would not stand for it if you weren't sober.
Well, I don't think so. And you know something, I treasure my relationship with Rose, and you know, it's to me, I think meeting Rose was all part of being sober.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Billy, we have to address something in the year 2023, because a lot of people they assume things without using their ears. When we posted the show with you, a few comments came in with like, well, it's a great song, but he wouldn't be able to record Little Children today. And I said to these people, well, did you listen to the song? It's about being with the older sister and getting caught by the little children. It has nothing to do with little children. And people just like to start bullshit without listening.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, no matter what, there's always going to be someone who's going to look at it differently. To me, you know, even at the time when I recorded it, people said, oh, it's a bit near the mark. Well, to me, it was an innocent pop song, you know, and that's the way I look at it. You're always going to, I mean, it's like, you know, people come and see your shows. Not everybody in the world's going to love you, you know, and it's the same with records. There's always going to be people, you know, are going to have their opinion.
Right.
You know, that's what makes the world go round.
Right.
You know?
But their opinions are wrong. Well, because the song is about you being with the older sister.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with the little children, and people have to listen with their ears. They really do.
You know, some people just don't, you know, and that's what I want to say.
Listen, and maybe not everybody loves you, but I know on Sunday, May 7th in Port Washington at the Landmark on Main, everybody in that audience is going to leave there a Billy J. Kramer fan. BillyJKramermusic.com for tickets. And right now, Billy's second biggest selling single, Anthony, Little Children.
Children, you better not tell on me. I'm telling you.
We started a little too early. That's a great song. When you think of your non-hit accomplishments,
Right.
in the music industry and in the entertainment industry, not becoming sober. This week, they just announced the new inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And because of you and a certain song you wrote, you helped Brian Epstein get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
You were a catalyst for that to happen with your song From Liverpool with Love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That must have been a labor of love, that song.
Well, you know, it was one of those things that I thought that, you know, Brian Epstein discovered the biggest show business, rock and roll, whatever, phenomenon the world has ever known or ever likely to know. And I felt that he'd been given a cold shoulder. I felt he'd been forgotten. And let's face it, the Beatles and the music gave the world so much enjoyment and pleasure, and have done for the last 60 years. And they're still the biggest band the world has ever known. And I thought that, you know, the least thing I could do was try and write a song to try and help get Brian some notification and get him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I was very happy to do that.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. The two biggest acts in music were the Beatles and Elvis Presley,
Right.
and both of their managers were worldwide known. Colonel Parker for Elvis and Brian for the Beatles. And
Yes.
I don't know of anybody else whose managers attained a celebrity status as they did.
Well, the thing is, let's face it, you're talking about the biggest acts ever, you know, and they both had an effect on the world, you know. I mean, to me, quite frankly, I had success. I'm very glad about it, but I didn't change the world. The Beatles did. Elvis did in a way, you know. They were, you know, bigger than the norm.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of moving parts to make a train on British, lines and in America. And you have a screw and a bolt and a wire in the annals of music history, because not only of your success, the greatest thought you were so good to give you songs. So that was an accolade before you even became huge.
You know, it was an accolade. And what a lot of people don't realize is that I came to America before the Beatles when Brian was negotiating the Beatles Ed Sullivan show. And, you know, I sat in the Waldorf Astoria in Brian's suite, and I had the newspapers and photographs of the Beatles showing them to people. So I was an ambassador back then.
Yes.
You know, I never really said that, but that's actually what did happen.
Sure. And in the book, it says that. Let me ask you, Billy, are you going to have the book for sale at Sunday show?
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot left, and I'm hoping the publisher's going to print some more. I don't know, but there's not a lot left. So
Okay.
there's going to be, but I'm going to have some, yes.
Great. So this book will be available at the show on Sunday, May 7th at 3 o'clock, Port Washington, New York. BillyJKramermusic.com for tickets. I do want to talk about this because the Tammy show.
Yes.
So I tried to go back. I believe you were the elder statesman of that show, because I think you were the oldest hit maker. Like the Tammy show was 60,
63, 64.
64. So, and you had hits in 62.
Yes, 63.
I don't think anybody on that show had hits before you. Am I correct?
Jerry Marsden did. Jerry and the Pacemakers. And the Rolling Stones had a hit with This Could Be the Last Time. You know, I think the thing is, I think that I was dressed more sophisticated and maybe I came off that way. You know, I wasn't, funny enough, it wasn't me. I didn't have the long hair and I wasn't jumping around like Mick Jagger does, you know. I think maybe that was it, you know.
Yeah, you were definitely a fashion plate back then.
Yeah, I was definitely a dedicated follower of fashion. You know. That's
great. We want to do the last video right now. This song was a little different for you. Let's talk about this after we play a clip of Trains and Boats and Planes. Anthony?
Trains and boats and planes, we're passing by. They mean a trip to Paris or Rome, to someone else, but not for me. The trains and the boats and planes took you away, away.
That was a little different than the stuff you were doing.
Yes. It came about, I was staying with a guitar player in the Dakotas at the time, a legend called Mick Green. Mick Green is a guy, believe it or not, to me, one of them people who never got the recognition he deserved. I think Eric Clapton, everybody, they all idolized Mick Green. Mick Green he was amazing. Actually, Paul even used him on his rock and roll album. And I was around at his house. And funny enough, Mick was a rock and roll guitar player, brilliant. But Trains and Boats and Planes, I was around at his house, and there was a Burt Bacharach special on TV, and he did this song, a choral version of Trains and Boats and Planes. And Mick had an acoustic guitar, and we sat up and worked out how we could do it. And went to George Martin with it. And I recorded it just with Mick. We never used a bass player, we used a detuned guitar. And we used the drummer in the Dakotas, and George Martin overdubbed the orchestra. I tracked the vocals, and fortunately, it was a big hit. A lot of people, people always remember the Dionne Warwick. I think people are getting more, are more aware of my version now than what they were back then.
Sure. And they're going to get aware of it on the show Sunday.
Absolutely.
Hey, Billy, guess what? We got Janet, who said there are only 5 more books available on Amazon. So if the people cannot make the show on Sunday, go to Amazon.com and buy Billy J. Kramer's book, Do You Want to Know a Secret?
Yeah, that's great.
We hope we had something to do with the sale.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful.
Billy, I never thought I'd get the chance to speak to an ambassador of anything. You are an ambassador to the British invasion. You are a class act. You are an inspiration to all. Between your musical career, your sobriety, and the advocacy you do for others like Brian, and how you always fight for the underdog. And we hope that someday that people will fight for you in those Hall of Fames, because you know what? I think after Sunday, we're going to have more people in the Billy J fan club than before Sunday. That's what I think.
Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. That's really nice to know, I'm a big believer in you just do the right thing and good things happen,
Everybody should be like that. Billy, I'll see you Sunday.
You will.
We're going to have an Italian lunch, so get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, Anthony put the poster up once again. This Sunday, May 7th, 3 o'clock in Long Island, Port Washington, New York, at the Gene Rimsky Theater at the Landmark on Main. Come see Ambassador to the British Invasion, Billy J. Kramer, along with a great opening act called the British Legends of Rock Show. They're going to do all songs from the 60s that Billy is not going to do. So you're going to get an entire British Invasion day. BillyJKramermusic.com. Ladies and gentlemen, as we do all the time, let's give this gentleman, Billy J. Kramer, a big round of applause. Thank you so much, William.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you Sunday.
Yes, it'll be great. See you then. Bye, Rose. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you something. I've been looking forward to this since we put the tickets on sale. I said, would you do an interview? Just a gentleman. And those of you who are going to be there with us on Sunday in Port Washington, you're going to experience a show that is very seldom seen, because Billy does shows. He gets 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do his songs. He's going to do an entire hour of his hit songs, some rarities, tell some stories. We got a meet and greet if you want, when you go buy your tickets at billyjkramermusic.com, you can email me, tell me you want to meet Billy J before the show. We'll tell you how to get that done. He will have some of his books there. I just can't wait. I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait to get another guest on this show because you know what, ladies and gentlemen? After not doing this for over 15 months, our last show was New Year or Christmas week of 2021. We didn't do anything in 22. I never realized how much I missed this and how much I enjoyed this. I hope you did. I hope you got a little taste of Billy J. Kramer. Hope to see you Sunday. Landmark on Main, Port Washington, 3 o'clock. BillyJKramermusic.com for tickets. Like always, this is Gene DiNapoli saying peace and love, and God bless you.